So welcome everybody for another weekly hour, this time with the A-AAGORA. I mean, we have here with us Unbelievable. She's the coordinator of the A-AAGORA project. We have Vera Hausner. She's helping us coordinating the demo site in Norway, in Troms Archipelago. And Emma, she's coordinating the Irish demo site, where we've been last week. Oh, it was absolutely fantastic experience. We were absolutely delighted to meet people, local stakeholders, to understand what they're doing to protect and restore our oceans and waters in the case of Cork. So without further ado, I will pass to Anna, and she will also introduce herself, introduce the partners that are participating here, and she'll do the presentation. We'll leave the questions and answers to the end. As I have already told everybody before, this is a very informal and informative meeting. So we don't expect to finish on time. We always take so we just want to provide a lot of practical and useful information to everybody who is interested, not only in the mission ocean, but also in the Atlantic and Arctic Lighthouse. And so stay with us, otherwise we'll post this video, this recording later in our YouTube channel. So Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jose, and thank you for the invitation for including Agora at these webinar sessions. So I'm Anna Lillebo. I'm a researcher at University of Aveiro and at the CESAM, Centre for Environmental and Marine Studies. And I act in this project as the scientific coordinator and also one of the co-responsibles for the demo area in Portugal. Before we start, then I think it's nicer I give the floor to Vera so she can also introduce herself, and Emma, because we will share this presentation so you can also get more insights. So Vera, please.
Yeah, my name is Vera Hausner. I'm a professor at the UiT Arctic University of Norway, where we are running a lab with a lot of citizen engagement relating to marine and coastal areas, and especially focusing on restoration, conservation, and climate adaptation. So right on the spot for the course. So over to you, Emma. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Anna, and thanks, Vera. My name is Emma Verling. I'm a research fellow at University College Cork in the Mara Centre. And I suppose along with colleagues at Cork County Council, we are leading the demonstration area for County Cork in Ireland. And we're looking also at community restoration. So that's a big aspect of what we're doing. As Jose just mentioned, I'm very glad that you're not all here today because we've got a terrible storm. And this day last week, we were all out in the field in Ireland. So we have community restoration, and we're also looking at coastal erosion issues, of course, linked to climate and tourism. And I'll say a little bit more about that maybe when we later on. But thanks very much for inviting me. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you very much. I forgot to say, of course, at University of Aveiro, I'm representing here a multidisciplinary team, and we have been also working on integrated coastal zone management. But perhaps I share my screen now, and then I introduce the project, and then we will share this presentation. So thank you very much for listening to us. So this is about our project has a long title. So it's Blueprint for Atlantic-Arctic Agora. So on cross-sectoral cooperation for restoration of marine and coastal ecosystems and increased climate resilience through transformative innovation. This is, of course, a very long title. So we are one of the projects funded within the EU missions on Restore Our Ocean and Waters. And the goals of these missions are to protect and restore biodiversity, cut pollution, and use blue ocean and water sustainability. And in more briefly, or going to the point, what we propose to do is to promote coastal restoration with nature and people. So this is our main focus, replacing this huge title of the proposal. But I would like to, or we would like to put you a little bit in the context of the call where we submitted the Agora project, and we focused on the EU policies. We are expected to do we are proposing to do transformative innovation of social ecological systems. And this is very important because we are always dealing with the social and ecological components of the ecosystems through different ways of or different layers of the ecosystem, like the economic, the technological, the social, and the ecological. So we are combining all these layers, and we are acting at different spatial and temporal scales. So there are different actions or different layers within each demo, which we are addressing, and it has to be with sustainability and equity, with some activities like the sustainable tourism or sustainable fisheries or marine protected areas, the sustainable blue growth, and here we are focusing also on decarbonization and green ports, societal engagement with co-development processes, that co-design, co-learning, applying ecosystem-based management, and these are some of the habitats that were mentioned in the call that we are addressing. And by scaling up, by producing these roadmaps, it is expected for us to contribute to the Atlantic Action Plan and to the Arctic Action Plan, but then prepare for scaling up at the basin level, at the all Atlantic level. So with the Galloway and Belay statements, OSPAR Convention, HELCOM Convention, Barcelona and Black Sea Convention. So this is a sort of infographics of how we interpreted and the call text and how we framed the Agora proposal. So based on this, we were inspired on the meaning of the word agora, like existing in ancient Greek cities, like an open space that serves as a meeting ground for various citizens. So at the end, it's what we aim for to contribute with the with this project, with the demos, and then enable replication of the solutions and the scaling up. So we want to demonstrate via this technological, social, and logistics and economic innovation actions. We want through this to reduce the pressures in coastal areas, and via the application of ecosystems based management and nature-based solutions, and then to boost the resilience to climate change and also mitigate its impacts. So we started in December last year. So we had now in Cork our annual meeting, General Assembly meeting, and we are funded for 42 months. We are a quite large consortium. We involve 30 partners, and we may ask why so many. And the fact is, we integrated as many stakeholders already at the writing of the call. So we have, and you will learn more about it when you see the 3 demos. Because we did not include this in the presentation, but we have a common structure of a project, like with the expected work packages. But then we invited already, and they co-developed the call, so they contributed directly to the writing of the proposal. Several partners involved already at the demo areas, so from local authorities to companies to NGOs and associations. So we have, and you will see this when we present the demos, a sort of clusters that are already working together with us at the demos, so that we are more effective and we are all engaged. So in this case, we are engaged since the writing of the proposal. So we have already a sort of a community of practice already inside the consortium. And sorry, and this is our project infographics, and I will try to guide you through the main actions and the main concept within our project. So we have the 3 demo areas where all the solutions will be tested, will be validated, so that together with associated regions, which we are now, we just finalized the call, it closed yesterday, the call for the associated regions. So we will now work with them from now. And then we have these 3 demo areas, and we are applying the quintuple helix. So we are involving the academia, the industry, the government, civil society, and the frame of the natural environment for society, the natural environment for society. So having into account the quintuple helix approach, we are then promoting transformative innovations for climate resilience, for societal engagement, for sustainable blue economy, and for ecosystem-based management. We are promoting technological hubs, but also deliberative democracy principles. At the end, we promote these final products that we are proposing. Now we will focus on the solutions, but at the end we will produce the roadmaps, we will produce a strategic game based on serious game. We will produce technological solutions for this cross-sectoral, promoting this cross-sectoral cooperation. We will have the solutions to scale up and to replicate at other, starting with the associated regions, but then in other regions, and also contributing to the Atlantic-Arctic knowledge system. So we will demonstrate how these innovations that we are proposing can contribute to this transformation in these 3, using these 3 coastal areas, the 3 demos as a testing ground, as demonstration grounds. And it is the Arctic Archipelago in Norway, the County Cork in Ireland, and the Portugal Centro Regions. So, and these, together with the associated regions, we will produce these blueprints that are, we can see them as plans or recipes for this protection and restoring of ecosystems and biodiversity, and then to be used by other areas. So this is the location of the 3 demos, and it's interesting because there was already a question before we started, and actually we have 3 different starting points. And this is good because we aim to reach the same goal at the end. And it's nice that we have different starting points, because this will also enrich our roadmap with the different pathways that can be taken to reach this final goal. So we aim to provide this data and information from these 3 demos, and then advance on ocean, global science, and the research contributing also to other coastal regions. So by having this, hopefully brief introduction, I will give the floor to Vera to develop further the demo in Norway. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anna, for this nice introduction. Yeah, we were given this question about what is different in our regions compared to elsewhere. And what I'm thinking is, especially in the Arctic, is that the coast is perhaps a bit more wild. You need some people with good skills in maritime logistics and and a bit more remote, maybe. So you have people who many of these communities are small scale. So you won't, like when you talk about citizen engagement, you won't get 100,000 because there would not be 100,000 people there. So you need in a way to work in a little bit a different way. There are frontiers, economic frontiers regions where economic activities are moving out for into the ocean for aquaculture, for wind energy. They have been established, of course, oil gas regions, and fishery has been a very strong actor there for a very long time. And you also have very traditional communities in the Arctic. You also have indigenous people that are living in this area. So it makes a bit of difference, at least for the Mediterranean region, I think, when you move so far north. The aim we have here is to protect and restore kelp forest ecosystems and biodiversity. And we focus also strongly on how this could be done by strengthening local livelihoods and culture, using a living lab approach. The goal of this community, and that's maybe interesting for people here to know, is that the archipelagos are managed by municipalities themselves. Both protected areas and non-protected areas are all managed by local authorities, which are also involved in this co-leading this demo. And we have tourism as a major partner here as well, and some research institutes. So now you can push the button to the next. The big problem along the coast of northern Norway is that we have sea urchin barrens. There is a desert there on that people normally don't see. And actually, many people who live in northern Norway now are not aware until we started to show off videos about from drones and things what the bottom really looks like. And it's like a desert. It's a barren, sea urchin barren. And this has probably persisted here for a very long time, it already starting in the 60s with increasing fishing pressures. And then there are multiple stressors, at least locals are thinking that both aquaculture and increase in predator populations and are contributing to maintaining this situation. But that's not totally verified how these multiple stressors interact to keep the sea urchin barren as it is. So we are now working with locals to try to do something about it. Along the coast of northern Norway, it's about 5,000 square kilometers with sea urchin barrens. And we can increase productivity and generate livelihood opportunities for people close to the coast by removing at least some of these urchin areas or restoring the ecosystem in total. So this could mean a lot for local livelihoods and culture, and for maintaining traditional fisheries, but also to generate new livelihoods connected to marine resources. And we are, of course, also trying to figure out how this resource, at least temporary, could be used for fertilizers and for fodder and for food for restaurants. So that's something we are working on, how we can make a temporary solutions for removing these urchins and restoring the general system so that these urchin barrens won't come back again. And one of the problems we also face is, of course, also to restore the coastal stocks, especially the Atlantic wolffish, which is a controller of these urchins, but also in general, if you have a more rich ecosystems, the urchins will not have the opportunity to tip the ecosystems over to a barren again as we start restoring these areas. There has also been a steep decline in seabird population. It's quite a big concern. Many species are now on the red list, and that's because there are not enough nutrients. Partly there are other stressors like predators and things that might add to it, and climate change. But nutrients like the food from the ocean is probably the most important cause. So restoring the ecosystems will also be important for restoring, birds and wildlife in the area. So we are working targeted with that as well. Next, so we are restoring the kelp forest as an ecosystem to produce a more rich and productive ocean. Here we are working together with the whole local communities for small-scale restoration for some, but then together with business, we try to have big boats coming in to remove urchins physically, but the urchins are on such shallow areas, so we need more small-scale solutions, which we are trying to work in now. And especially we have done quite a lot with the tourist organizations that are collaborating with us. That has been extremely valuable to see how they work and their logistics in setting up such big scale restoration events. Engaging a range of citizens has been really valuable. We also are working with schools. That's also small scale, but we are increasing the awareness and trying to transfer knowledge to the rest of the local communities through the schools. Another thing we are doing is to, and this could maybe be important also for reducing other stressors that are maintaining the urchin in the state they are, is to have alternative tourism activities, maybe reducing a bit on tourist fisheries, and then rather focus on northern lights and bird watching, which could be big industries in northern Norway. And northern lights is already big, but bird watching could also be a possibility here. So we are trying to build the whole archipelago up as a destination for that. And then what managers say they need is more like a tool to manage all multiple stressors through applications of ecosystem-based management and low-cost adaptive monitoring, so they know which actions they could take. And of course, as always, the Arctic Archipelago, the municipality we work with there, they want alternative livelihoods that can attract young people and highly competent people. It's a traditional fishing communities, a bit male-dominated, a bit older people living there. So they want alternative kinds of industries that could be more interesting for people to move back to. And they say they don't want to grow to heaven. They don't want to grow too much. They want to have a good life and more younger people. That's what they want in the community. So so next. So the municipality is spread over multiple islands, and I think for us to succeed, we need to engage people on each of these islands in different solutions or activities. We are working with the schools. In that case, there are no potential to restore kelp forests, so we are rather building underwater garden and establish seaweed production, which is something that Karlsøy also wants to look into, low trophic aquaculture of seaweed, and also how they could make use of urchins. So that's what we work with the schools on. Unfortunately, there are not schools exactly where there are great restoration potential, and it has to be close to the school. So therefore, we are not bringing the children physically in together with the restoration projects, but they are working to build this garden and to produce seaweed, like making their own little aquaculture experience. Yeah. We also want to engage with youth elsewhere. So we are also targeting another island with art-based research. So they could, in a way, one of the big things is, you know, to attract these young people to stay in the community and move back there if they are taking education. So therefore, to work, you know, what are they desired, you know, futures are important for social resilience of the community. And then the ecotourism, we have established a base. We have a collaboration there with a local partner of Helgøya, the ecotourism part, and building a business model which will be partly based on restoration, partly based on building a tourism product for demonstration, which will be transferred to the rest of the community. And there will be probably a diving center. They have worked quite hard to get a diving center and to work this into their business model. The tourism organization we are collaborating with has also been very important in terms of engaging citizens in the restoration activities. And then we also working in another communities more with the typical local community, fishery community, where we co-produce with fishers, agreeing upon adaptive management plan for the area. Yes, so we are in the process of doing that. They are currently setting up some solutions relating to what they think is the main stressors. Then we also have seabird monitoring, where we are training the protected area managers to use drones and to put on this GPS tracker so that the costs remain low over a long time, so they could take over this while we are finished. Then we know where they eat, and we know whether the restoration activities are actually impacting the birds or not. So that's a specific activity we have relating to seabirds. And we will also monitor a bit the mammals. I forgot to say that, but this is what we have come furthest with, these points that are here. And we have quite a lot of activities also for the marine protected areas. I just talked about this Grand Shift kelp restoration, that tourism organization we're working with, Puka Travels. We're inviting all of the Troms, which is a city, people to go there and help remove urchins. And we're also making some apps for bird watchers and some citizen science activities using apps for helping the protected area board, which you remember is local, to manage their own areas, because we think this will strengthen their capacity. They already have the motivation, so it's important now to strengthen the capacity to manage these areas. So now ends the next here. Yeah, and like we are working with okay. It shifts a little bit back and forth, these slides, but I will also emphasize that we have established community of practice, the municipalities on board, as I said, and protected area management boards, but we also have attracted much more different kinds of people, which I think is necessary to make this happen. It has a lot to do with changing mindset and awareness and mobilize people to join, you know, and to figure out new solutions for addressing this problem. So, and if you push the next button, you could see how how many different kinds of people are involved. You have, we have students, of course, many students, master students coming from university. We have a cook who will make new dishes out of urchins, which has a restaurant in Tromsø, and he says he pays like €4 for each urchin. So it's a market there. It's just difficult to we have to work logistically with serving the market. You have an anthropologist who studies this approach. You have a cool guy there. He's actually the project leader now. He was very devastated over seeing the sea urchin barrens, that there's no productivity left in the ocean. So he's actually quite involved, even though he's just a cool guy. And then you have artists, and you need a skipper, of course, who understands how to work in these quite tough areas. And we have a documentarist who is going to document it all. So we have all kinds of people involved already, and attracted more as we started working with this process. So we are hoping that we will just keep on growing in number of people who will be engaged in this process. So now I think it's time for the Irish or the Portuguese case.
Great. Okay. So as I said, when I introduced myself, this is the work of the Irish demonstration area for A-AAGORA project. And I'm representing here, I suppose, 3 organisations. Myself in University College Cork, Darragh O'Sullivan, who's from the local authority in County Cork in Ireland, and Tim O'Higgins, who's from the National Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage. And I suppose just to show you, just see, how can I? Yeah. So just to remind everyone, in case you don't know where Cork is, of course, all of the partners who were with us last week will know, but Cork City is actually Ireland's second biggest city, and it's the largest county area. So I suppose that means the local authority have a lot of work to do. So we're in the southwest of the country, and there's some little facts about the county there. But you know, it's quite a significant part of the country, I suppose, from a GDP point of view, and also a very large coastline. So there's a lot of coast to manage in this particular county. So I suppose there are 4 aims to this demonstration area. I think Anna and Vera have really set me up very well here to describe this, because you know, you've described in your great presentations some of the overarching aims of the Agora project. And what we're really trying to do is, we have 4 main aims. So we're trying to document best practice in the area as regards restoration and community engagement. We're trying to then replicate and upscale the successful approaches across our own county and across our own country, and of course beyond. Those are 2 big aims, and we're working with the community in a place called Harper's Island Wetlands, and I'll say a bit about that in a moment. But we're doing something else as well. There are two other things we're doing, and they're related really to coastal erosion and restoration. So we're trying to provide evidence. So the local authority really needs evidence to assist decision making around the use of nature-based solutions to tackle coastal change. And they're not in use much at the moment, and the local authorities are very interested in this. But scientific advice is needed. And so that's the solution we're trying to work on with the local authority. We're trying to work together to make progress there. And really importantly, there's some vulnerability mapping going on at the moment around the Cork coast, and we're trying to support that and I suppose capitalise on that work. So in terms of the first 2 aims I mentioned, in Harper's Island, they're focused on Harper's Island, and the second 2 are focused in Youghal and Pilmore. So Harper's Island, really, it's a small little nature reserve in Cork Harbour, but it's very important refuge for wild birds, particularly black-tailed godwits. And I suppose this nature reserve is an example of a community-led project. It's really from the bottom up, it's community-led. I suppose it started maybe 15 years ago. It's a collaboration between cool guys, as Vera says, lots of cool guys, and the local authority in Cork. So the land is owned by the local authority, but over the years, the community have really driven the restoration in this area, and it's ongoing. They have the NGO Birdwatch Ireland are involved. We have the local men's shed, who are skilled people who can do things. And what we want to do with this example is that we want to capture this example. Why did it work? What challenges did they have? We know there are lots of communities around County Cork and in Ireland who would really like to do something like this in their own area, but they don't know where to start. And the local authority are very stretched with resources. They can't provide advice to every community who approaches them. So what we're trying to do is to get this great example and have something ready to go to give other communities to help them on this journey to do restoration in their own areas. So what we want to do is to work with the community to produce outputs illustrating their process, and ultimately, as is written here, to upscale and replicate it elsewhere. So I guess how we do this, well, we're going to do this really by talking to people. So what we've just started now as part of the Agora project is to interview these local people. And we want to focus on key achievements, role of communities and volunteers, learnings, challenges. Really, we want challenges. We want to know what didn't work also. And in terms of the outputs, that we want that to be developed, of course, and co-created with the community. So we've suggested things like graphics and videos and things like that. But at the moment, the community are considering those different outputs and are going to come back to us on that. So I suppose this is really a live project. We're just at the beginning, I suppose, of starting to develop this in one way. And it's very exciting. And we're really hoping we can get some great outputs here and great solutions for other communities that are facing similar problems. I might say something now about the second part, and this part of the work, I suppose, isn't as well developed. I mean, listening to Vera's talk, it's almost wonderful to see how far along she is, and it's a great model for us to try and follow, I suppose. But as I said, we want to try and provide evidence to the local authority about the coastal erosion issues. And I'll just show you, I suppose, the area we're working in. This is an area of East Cork. It's called Youghal and Pilmore, is the general area which we're in that map I just showed you. And I suppose historically there's complex coastal management measures here. This area, has been managed for a long time in different ways in terms of managing the coast, and we need to understand this. But now we know we have coastal change. We've had inadequate maintenance of some of these coastal structures, and things are changing rapidly. The local community recognises it. The local authority recognises this, and we're all trying to work together to see what we can do. We have SACs and SPAs in the area. And also the area is a tourist place. So similar to what Vera described, tourism is a big thing here. It's a big consideration in terms of the local authority. And we need to consider how all of these things interact together. And to do this, what's really needed is scientific advice and input. But as we know, resources are limited. So the solutions we're trying to come up with, I suppose, are to address these exact things, to enable the local authorities to make progress and address these pressing issues that they have. I just wanted to show you the tourism aspect. I suppose this is the town of Youghal in East Cork. It's been a tourist attraction for many years, and this old photograph taken over 100 years ago and one taken this past summer, you can see that this has always been an important aspect of the economy of this area, and it's unlikely to change. And we need to work with that and see how we can achieve what we need to do and still try to maintain what's happening in the local economy. But we have some of these photographs show some of the coastal erosion issues, I suppose, that the area is facing. You have some low dune systems there in the middle photograph. There's a lot of, I suppose, increased storminess has eroded a lot of these, and this is a concern. You can see in the middle photograph as well that there's a boardwalk that people use, and they love this boardwalk, but it's also creates challenges from a coastal erosion perspective. So we're going to look at these and try to figure out what sort of solutions we might have in front of us to deal with the ongoing erosion here. Another site we're looking at, I suppose, we're looking at some of these other solutions that have been used in the past, sort of more hard engineering type solutions. So in the top right there, you can see a photograph of what's called rock armor. So rocks that are put on the shore to prevent erosion. And in this particular case, there's a road that's eroding. You can see it in the bottom right photograph and the bottom left. There's a lot of erosion for a local road here and access to homes. So you have communities that are being directly affected. And this rock armor has been used in a reactive way by the council to deal with this, but it actually generates probably some more problems, and it doesn't actually solve in the long term the erosion problem that will continue. So we know that communities are looking for other solutions, And these are really live issues that the local authorities are dealing with. And we're trying to, I suppose, come up with solutions that are different from what some of the traditional reactive methods, and think more long-term, like restoration, like working on restoring some of these systems that have been eroded precisely because of the development that's been going on them. So I think that's the summary I have. Obviously happy to take any questions, but yeah, we're really looking forward, I suppose, to just trying to develop these and coming up with real solutions with the rest of the partners in the project. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Emma. Then I go back to my screen, sharing my screen. And then on behalf of also a large team, I will present what we aim for, what are the solutions that we are working with at the Portuguese demo. And like Vera and Emma, here I'm representing also the regional government, the environmental agency, the National Institute for Weather, and the intermunicipality community, the harbor, the Aveiro harbor, and from Figueira da Foz, another city, Prio oil company, and Strix, which is a technological company on technological solutions for biodiversity and conservation. So we have our demo at the Centro Region, which is it's a quite large area. It's the biggest near to in coastal Portugal mainland, and it includes different areas with wetlands. Also, it supports, like many other coastal regions, economic activities, cultural activities, and recreational. And like in other coastal regions, tourism, fisheries, or maritime activities are very important. And in this case, I can let you know that we have 2 estuaries, 2 coastal lagoons, 3 small, medium-sized port areas. So what we are doing is we are working at the Aveiro region or Aveiro coastal lagoon region as a living lab. But first we then but then we are replicating for the entire region. So we started small, but then we replicate, and this is also supporting us to replicate to other areas and to scale up. So the solutions that we are testing, we aim them to be then combined for the entire region, and combining the different layers, because at the end, what we would like is to provide a tool that will support this decision making, but with based on ecosystem-based management principles, so that it can combine the different layers and the different the specificities of this coastal area. And therefore, you can see that we have already started with a lot of different actors at this demo, and together we are testing the solutions, and of course then integrating the know-how and the profiles of the different of the partners involved as in the different work packages. I didn't mention them in the short introduction that I made, but of course we are implementing and showcasing the solutions at the demos level, but of course the other partners, and through the work packages, they are the enablers of these solutions and the final products that we will deliver. So also, like many coastal areas, we have the port activities and tourism, and here these activities are ongoing in the area. But we are proposing solutions that we combine different perspectives. For instance, regarding there is research going on the reduction of the greenhouse emissions by small port areas, And here it involves already different partners at the consortium. And this has to do with improvement of the logistics, but also for a more sustainable tourism activities via the replacement of fossil fuels by advanced waste-based fuels. This means that both actions aim at reducing the anthropogenic impacts, and contribute to the decarbonization, not only at the ports activity, but also at the tourism activity that is taking place not only at the living lab scale, but also for the entire region. And these solutions can be combined or individually replicated in other areas. But then building up on several projects, because being in at university, we have University of Earth, we have for the last decade worked on integrated coastal zone management. That's why we also started with this living lab, where we have been working together with the entire region, the stakeholders of the region, and we have co-identified key issues and key actions that needed to be implemented. And one of them identified, and we have been lucky enough to be funded to implement, to test restoration actions at the lagoon system level. And now we are actually starting next month a live project. So I'm now mentioning the work of the team of Aveiro, a live project also on restoration. So we can also, through A-AAGORA, will also combine, not only evolving all the stakeholders, but also combine efforts from different projects, because they can also bring insights to the best practices, the success stories that we can then replicate and scale up, but also awareness of what did not work that well and why. So we can also learn and not repeat what didn't work that well. So, but coming back to the restoration actions, they are in place. A new project is also starting, but we want to scale up the seagrass restoration, because now we have tested, I will say a little bit more than piloting scale, but to scale up as the same way as this was done, for instance, in Norway. We have to involve more people. We have to involve citizens. We are now including on these actions, we are combining it with citizen science. So we have already involved civil society, citizens, other stakeholders to join these actions, and also monitor, because human resources, this monitoring, it could be assisted by supervised machine learning, so that we can also monitor from the shore, not going into the place, and support this large-scale monitoring also. So these actions are solutions that have been tested in a minor scale. All of them, we want to enlarge them to a bigger scale, but then we want to combine them as a combined, as a transformative way of looking at these anthropogenic activities, the decarbonization of the anthropogenic activities, but also carbon sequestration by restoring, or blue carbon sequestration by restoring seagrasses. And here I also have to say that we will also combine this with another EU project, which we are also coordinating on the abatement, or the potential abatement of greenhouse gases from restoration of coastal wetlands. So at the end, we can combine information from different projects on this roadmap. But we want at the end to combine all this. Why? Because when you want to do an integrated management of a coastal area, most of the times you have these co-concurring activities. You have port activities, you have the tourism activities, and you have the natural ecosystems. So we propose to combine the calculations of this carbon balance, the improvements that can be achieved by, for one side, decarbonizing directly from human activities, but also enhance blue carbon sequestration, so that we can have a big picture, an overview, the different ways we can contribute to the, not only to the restoration, but also to the communities' livelihoods, and then also change behaviors and engaging both citizens and the private sector. And I forgot to say that when we identified the seagrasses as one of the key habitats that needed to be restored, because we had subtidal and intertidal, yes. Oh, sorry. Intertidal and subtidal vegetation, and now we only have intertidal. So it was really a priority, but this was also identified through the different projects that we developed as a priority habitat identified by the stakeholders, because it's really acknowledged as a nursery area, and it is really acknowledged for activities like small-scale fisheries, the richness or the health of the ecological status of the lagoon, and people recognize themselves in the lagoon's biodiversity, species richness, and all the activities that they can take from the lagoon, but also the sense of place, meaning that this was also identified, ranked first from the community. So we can combine as a solution, we can combine the results of these activities. Also, coastal erosion, this is a vulnerable area. So we are developing, this is also building up from previous research projects involving, again, the community, and involving a large team from the University of Aveiro and companies and the local community. And they have being developed a web application to be for real-time service for the coastal community, meaning that it will forecast coastal erosion events and support coastal communities for actions, because they have also co-developed prospective scenarios for different actions depending on the high energy events from the seaside, for instance. And they are now also developing new technologies to combine this with real-time data, so they can have these real-time services. At the same time, we have the coastal area, coastal erosion, and we have the dune system, because this is a lagoon with a dune spit. And not only it's vulnerable to coastal erosion, but also this is a very attractive area for during the summer. You can see there is a pathway, but there is also some footprints where they should not be. So this will also support us for one side to foresee potential risk to these dune systems due to coastal erosion on extreme events. We are talking about, I know we are in the southern of Europe, but it's the Atlantic. The Atlantic is a very high energy sea, and winters can be quite tough. So we are also aiming to forecast effects on the dunes so they can be protected, but also on the awareness of using these pathways and involving citizens in the process of dunes restoration and dunes protection. And as mentioning, we also coming back to the coastal areas with hard infrastructures and like ports and marinas. Another solution that is being developed is to transform harbors and marinas into nurseries. So this is supported by nature-based artificial substrates units for active recruitment and biodiversity restoration. So we, it's also, again, as you can see, Aveiro Port and Figueira da Foz Port, they are partners at the project. So we are co-developing, and Strix company, in this case, it's a company leading this, this solution. They are now on the way to test and validate so that this can also be replicated and scaled up elsewhere. So, and this, of course, it's also to improve as having nursery areas. I didn't mention this, but this port area is inside a Natura 2000 area. So by having these solutions inside the port area or the area managed by the port authorities, it's no fishing. So it can also serve, it's a non-fishing area, meaning that this can also serve as an area for fish reproduction, fish that can then, through connectivity, come back to the lagoon and enrich the diversity in the lagoon. So it can also bring benefits to the entire community in the lagoon. And this is the team that is involved. I think I jumped a slide. A team involved. I switched the orders of the slide. I'm sorry. This was supposed to be after this one. Just to come back to the project timelines, because now we have presented the 3 demos, and we have 42 months. So now we are at the end of the first year. So what we have been reaching now in the first year is to set up. We have been setting up all the conditions. We are now entering the phase of validating these solutions. And very importantly, we are now engaging the call. As I mentioned, the call just closed. So we are now engaging with the associated regions so that they can take part now of the process. And then we are now entering this phase of validation. Then we have the demonstration phase, and then prepare for scaling up. Just to give you here a note of the final product. So we will have this platform combining the different solutions that we have been mentioning. We will have the blueprints so that others can also replicate or scale up. And of course, very important for this call and for the Blue Mission is that we contribute to the digital knowledge system. And I've been doing a lot of this talk, but this is not all, but many of the people involved in the entire consortium. So the 3 of us have been presenting on behalf of 30 partners and a large consortium. And of course, we also include our advisory board that have also been giving us very good insights how to scale up to the different regions, and they have been really giving us great support. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for your presentations. It was fantastic. A lot of information. We have some questions here in the Q&A box. I have questions on WhatsApp. I have questions from Telegram, and email. People emailed me some questions. I will start by going back to the first question that was sent by a friend from Nigeria. I mean, I'll expand a little bit these questions. You know, Anna, you are coordinating a very complex project and a lot of partners. And the question is, how can we put all these pieces together, Atlantic and Arctic, coastal restoration, and all the other solutions? I mean, from killing, I love this story from Puka Travels, killing urchins with hammers. I love this idea, and that could become a business to Cork. I mean, we've seen there using bird watching as a way of driving people to help with the restoration, and also we've seen what has been done in the Central Region. How can we put it all together in terms of the mission, in terms of my question always, providing solutions that could be scaled up and replicated in other projects and beyond European area as well?
Thank you, Jose. This is a tough one because we have been working together. Of course, this has to be a lot of interactions, and this is a learning process for us all. So we have been learning on the way and building up from each other's knowledge. And this is also one of the steps of bringing the associated regions, which we are really looking forward to that, because now, after 1 year that we have been working on the setting up, we start to really know each other, or what we intend to implement, what are the solutions. So we are now in the way that, for instance, we are seeing how to combine, for instance, the dune restoration or coastal erosion with the Irish case. We have been also discussing, for instance, the seagrasses, but also both Emma and I have also been learning from for instance, the great engagement that is already, or the implementation of the living lab that is in Norway. So during this learning process with each other, I think that we will be able, and knowing our cultural differences and environmental differences, that we will be able to put this into the roadmap. Because, as you mentioned, the missions are about the solution. We want to contribute to the restoration, and we want to contribute to the resilience of coastal habitats. So there can be different ways to reach this. By sharing information, and here communication, it's very important that we not only internally we have been communicating and we have been getting better and better, but then involve others outside the consortium, so that we reach this point that everyone can follow and everyone can take the best out of it. Not just copy paste, but take the best and say, I want to copy this because I see myself doing this, or I see this for my community.
Oh, thank you. Very inspirational words. Yeah. Now I have a question for Vera. I was lucky enough to have visited Tromsø the beginning of this year, and last week I was in Cork. So very interesting. When Vera facilitated an absolutely fantastic meeting with the mayor from Kalsoy community, Mona, and also the deputy mayor of Tromsø city. It was a fantastic meeting. And Mona told us an absolutely brilliant story. When we said that, how can the mission ocean can help you? She replied that, you know, we have the means to survive, but our problem is how can we keep the young people here in our community, how they can be proud to be living in Kalsoy, or to be connected to the rest of the world. So my question to Vera, you just touched it very lightly on your presentation. You know, in such a small community, can you elaborate a little bit more how the Mission Ocean can help, like, I mean, Mona to reach her goals, meaning to keep the young people in the Kalsoy community and in Troms Archipelago in general?
Yes, and this is something we are working quite a lot with the young people in the municipality, because the municipality has quite good income, but it's very traditional male-dominated occupations, and so they want more jobs for women and for high competent people moving back from universities to have a more diversified livelihoods, also to make them more resilient for the future. So they are not like talking so much about growth, they're talking about good quality of life and a better demography. And the way Mission could help is really small-scale businesses, maybe especially related to tourism, and more high like co-lab establishment of some sort. If there are some low-trophic aquaculture which could support small-scale businesses, which is more favorable maybe for new competences coming in. So all these new economies, is what they need to actually establish there. Tourism, low aquaculture, and maybe through the blue schools to make students thrive, or the children that thrive, and to see their own ocean. Because the problem is actually that even though they are living on the coast, they are no longer so much out in the boat as the former generations. So we have, in a way, to reattach them to ocean. And therefore, we also bought wetsuits or dry suits. Actually, of course, we have to have dry suits in our oceans. so to have them actually see, and to build something, to see how the productivity comes back while they're constructing these gardens, these underwater gardens. And make them more attached to these oceans. And therefore, we also want to work a little bit with art, with the younger generation, to make them understand the value they could embrace if they live in their community. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is something to be really replicated, this new approach to the young generation. And Emma, we've been last week in Cork, and I heard more than once, maybe more than 10 times, that it took 30 years to set it up. So my question is very simple, but I don't know if you can answer. How can we compress these 30 years? What would be the key steps? What would be the key learned lessons to compress 30 years in a year?
Well, thank you for giving me that easy question, Jose. No problem to answer this, but I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to use the words of one of the volunteers to answer it. And it really speaks to what Vera and Anna have just been saying. So during our visit last week to Harper's Island, the nature reserve I mentioned, I spoke to one of the volunteers and I said, why is this working? And I wished I could have recorded him, because one of the things he said was persistence. He got this idea to do this thing and he persisted with it. This resonated with me. It needs somebody or a group of people who really want to do this. They're invested to do this. So that persistence piece is number one. He also said something which was get the group together, get the gang together, but get the right gang together. So identify who are those people you need. And he said it must be a diversity of skills, a diversity of people, including business, which is exactly what Vera has just said. We must include people from business, even though we're talking about something to do with nature restoration, which might not, resonate so much with business, but that needs to be included for the reasons that Vera has outlined. So I think, in a nutshell, that's what I think we need to do. I think we need to get the group together, the right group, talk to each other and collaborate and persist with what we're doing. That's it in a nutshell, but it's difficult. So that's why people don't know this. And what we are trying to do is to spread this knowledge and this wisdom, which didn't come from me, but from somebody who's done this, so that it doesn't take 10 years, because it can't take 10 years. We must try to accelerate this and do it more quickly.
Yes, very good point you made. And I've seen that when we talk with Tim, and he was saying that he was like observing birds for several years, more than 500,000, counting one by one. And he shared his database in eBird. I mean, so he's still very open to share his experience and his data with the rest of the world. That's very interesting.
Exactly. And I suppose it's those people with different skills. We also met people who had a building background. This was a big piece actually for the really on the ground work. People who had this experience of building things, making things with their hands. It's what Vera is talking about, those people who have the maritime skills, she said earlier. We need those skills. You can't interact with this environment without those. So it's there's something there for everyone. And that's why the real engagement with the communities is vital. And without that, we can't make progress.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, Anna, I start now with the questions that we have here in our Q&A box. The first one is very interesting. I mean, I would have asked this anyway, but the idea for the harbors, I mean, this transforming harbors in nurseries is very interesting. Where can I get more information about that? This is the question. It's from Colombia, I guess. Carlos Tamoyo Rodriguez.
Thank you very much for the question. There are some solutions already, and because the structure itself, there are different combination of structures, and the structure itself, it's even registered. The innovation here and the solutions is the combination with some active recruitment. And this is part of the business of Strix in this case. So the technology already exists and it's placed in the market. Actually, we have also used in the different way a low cost. I don't say this is a high cost, but a different low tech, not low cost, low tech. This was the word I was looking for. A low tech solution. We can give the contacts. It's on the web page of Agora, probably not yet well developed, but we are improving all these solutions in the web page, and we can easily give more information, and also putting them in contact with Strix, one of the partners, meaning that the technology is on the market, so it's there. The innovation is the combination of the technology with some active recruitment. And there can be other, because this is also the principle of artificial reefs. So what you do is you complexify the environment so that you have hiding places, because when you have a hard infrastructure, what you do is you put there concrete, meaning that everything is no rocky areas, no sandy areas, no vegetation. So you have to complexify this habitat so that first colonizers can come, and you can then develop a community within these hard infrastructures that have a more complex environment. And the innovation is, as I mentioned, is to accelerate, using your words, it's try to accelerate the process.
Yeah, well, thank you. Then I have another question from Carlos. Maybe I'll try to answer. And then if you would like to add something, he asked how Agora is connected to the A-AAGORA Declaration signed last year in the US. So actually the Mission Ocean in general will be linked to A-AAGORA through special projects in the All-Atlantic Ocean Research Innovation Alliance. So this is something that will be dealt in the near future. Just a call just closed a few weeks ago, and we hope there will be a continue between everything that's been developed in the mission, ocean and waters in Europe, including A-AAGORA, to transfer knowledge, to transfer and to make contacts with other areas around the Atlantic. And then we go to the other question for the final question from Claudia. So I will translate because in Spanish, well, good morning from Mexico. Do you have any plans to link to other coastal cities in other areas to, let's say, to present what we are doing? I mean, specifically to Cork, Aveiro, and Troms. Do you have any linkage to the other cities, coastal cities beyond Europe?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Just putting a note on the previous question, we are one of the drops of the ocean. So we are contributing to the entire mission with our little, we are giving a little contribution, and we are joining forces also with other projects. And of course, through the CSA coordinated by Air Center, but something that we didn't mention yet, we have been working with other projects, including the sister projects. So we are all contributing with small pieces to the entire picture that is the mission all about. And in this sense, we have been setting up and validating the actions and the solutions, but we are looking for these associated regions. So we are very open to collaborate, to provide webinars or presentations, or even because, as I understood from the question, was how we could share this information with other coastal cities. Was it like that, Jose? How we could share information,
exactly,
share experience.
Exactly.
We have, well, one of the means could be this, like this webinar, but also we will attend conferences, and we are even trying to prepare some sessions at conferences. Or if you are interested, we are building up the community of practice that Jose can also give some more information at very at high level, I will say at high level, at the highest level at the European Commission or the Oceans Decade, but also at very high level, meaning that geographically spreading, involving people from all over the world. So here you are also very welcome to join this community of practice and follow or email us directly to one of the demos. There is a contact at the web page. So if there is a specific issue that you, for instance, see and you revise yourself on something that Cork is developing, Norway is developing, just grab us directly to the point.
Okay. Do you want to add something, Vera or Emma?
No. I don't think so. I think Anna said it all. We're very open to discussing this with anyone and learning. I mean, learning from others is the key thing as well. That's why the connection is not just one-way information. You know, we all can learn from each other.
Yeah, it's very nice. You have now an open connection, a direct connection. Please send emails. And well, we were supposed to close now, but there's one last-minute question that is interesting. Could help us to wrap up. Do you think? And then maybe we go to do around, all of you just add something, but do you think natural-based solutions and circular economy and green innovations in blue biotech will be able to create a better economy system benefit that can benefit the community? Who wants to start the answering?
Well, I can. The municipality we live in have some salmon aquaculture, but they don't want to continue with expanding on salmon aquaculture until they get circular solution in place or more greener solutions for working with nutrient loads and lice and diseases and things like that. So the municipality has said that they want, for them, it's more sustainable to work with other kinds of blue biotech, as was mentioned here, and circular solutions. They want different forms of work, both with the salmon aquaculture with circular solution, the fishery, they already have like biodegradable fish nets they are testing out. And they are there also this idea about how to use the urchins as a part of circular solutions for fertilizing farmers, pastures, for a better production. So things like that are something that is discussed to become a sustainable model for other communities, and hopefully also create livelihoods that is beneficial for younger generations that has been trained at universities. So yes, absolutely, it could be produce. The municipalities there, they want us to contribute, but of course it's difficult to implement because it's not only dependent on research, as you know, it's also dependent on many people working together to enable such circular solutions.
Thank you, Vera. Emma, do you want to say something?
Well, I think Vera has far more practical experience of this than me, but if I could answer from a slightly philosophical perspective, I think that this is the road that we must go down as a society. So asking whether it would work, I think Vera has given some really practical answers, but in my view, we must look more at this ecosystem-based way of thinking about our environment. We are part of it, we are part of that system, and we must work with our environment. We must do more of that, because I think what until now societies very much view themselves as being outside of the environment, and that the environment is doing something for them, but that's not quite right. And we need to recognize that our role is in that system too, and everything we do impacts that system. So the more we work with green innovations, I think the more successful we'll be. That's my personal view.
Thank you so much. And your final words, Anna.
Yes, thank you very much, Jose, because yesterday I was at the meeting discussing biodiversity and the link between academia and companies. And one of the words we have not been using, but it is being used, is we have nature-based solutions, and we also need more nature-based enterprises. We have to show them that this restoration can be a business, and it's also one of the aims. So perhaps this would be the really final goal, because to validate the solutions for it's the easiest part, but to keep them going after the project, to promote this capacitation and to deliver so that it's self-sustainable and someone is interested to make it up as a business, meaning that it gets self-sustainable. So this is also one of the challenges.
Oh, thank you so much, you all, for this fantastic session. I mean, we still have people linked at us. We still have people on YouTube. I just received 2 more questions, but we'll stop for now. I will share by email. So just want to say thank you so much for this fantastic session, Anna, Vera, and Emma. So I hope to see you again soon in somewhere in the world. So thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.